Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Real Estate Note Investing Be the Bank broadcast. Today is November 13th, 2024. This year has gone by pretty quickly. Today, we're going to have Jamie, Mr. Jay Redding, and of course, Chris 70 on the show. Jay will be presenting a case study that he presented actually last week at the Note Expo conference that we went to. So you want to stay tuned for this one. Well, if it isn't the Note Crew.
Woohoo! There we go. The Note Crew.
Hey,
Bad
Justin,
boys
figured
and
out
notes.
how to put this on YouTube, I think, so I'm going to try and be on my best behavior today. But
Oh gosh, Chris! Chris is
Stop,
rated
Lana,
G
that's
today.
no fun, Chris.
Boo.
if
Justin,
you
I
guys
just
actually believe that, then I got some land in Florida I can sell you.
no, we don't.
I probably already bought it, and I got the neighboring.
Now
tract as
Jamie
well.
has.
I just wanted to point out that you introduced me without my last name, so obviously I'm just so famous. We don't even need to
Jamie,
mention my last
That's
name.
right.
Yeah, I can pronounce it with a J is silent too.
right. That works.
You put a P in hamster.
What?
Say hamster.
The hamster.
Oh, hamster. Like
You
a
put a
hamper.
P in hamster. Spell hamster, but do you put a P in it?
When you say it, no.
Hamster.
Hamster. Hamster. I guess so.
Hamstar.
Why is there a P in it, or why do you
Like a
pronounce it
hamper,
correctly?
like a clothing hamper. Anyway,
I don't know. Where does this show go? I don't know. We go
I
off
can-
many
I
different tangents.
my fault.
I,
My fault.
I am the best at steering people away from the important stuff and just going down the abyss of nothing.
Oh, are we live, Justin? I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
We're
we're
recording. Yes, we are officially recording right now.
Woo, never a dull moment here.
Yeah. Well, no, there's never a dull moment.
Yeah.
That's true. That is true. So what kind of exciting news does everyone have that's been going on? Let's just kind of go around. I don't know who wants to start first, but any volunteers, or do I have to start pointing, gentlemen?
I've got nothing going on. I'm just taking it nice and easy.
Yeah, right.
Nothing new going on.
okay.
Just
The new Chris.
I
Sure.
have my brain turned off for a while in regards to no new ideas or anything.
Really?
Right. Mhm.
This is shocking.
So,
Didn't you go to
you can't
Georgia
live
to
that
look
way.
at an asset?
it got postponed actually. So foreclosure got postponed, which till next month. So holding on that. That Vegas property we talked about a few months ago. Flooring is in. They're painting as well, and hoping to have that listed and on the market within the next 30 days. So that's
Pretty cool.
good. Since last time we talked, we closed on about $2.5 million in loans, some non-performers in Florida, Washington, D.C., few performing loans, and we are looking at one right now that we're talking about backstage in regards to this crazy one that's a probate, bankruptcy, foreclosure, mix mash of everything. So
Check all the boxes.
typical month, busy. So
Are the ones in Washington, D.C., are they high-valued properties?
they are about 400,000 each. They are part of a new development where they are sale pending, actually, right now as we bought them. So
Ooh.
400K
Good
is
timing.
not high value for DC.
no, they're there's like studio
Working
one
class neighborhood in DC.
Yeah,
There
I
we
mean,
go.
they're newer condos that are new construction, and they're in a decent area, but they're small. I mean, they're 800
Okay.
square feet, so you're paying
Ooh,
Right.
wow.
$500-600 a square foot for them. So
Yeah.
That's about 5 times as expensive as where I live. So
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say
exactly. No, thank you.
for those of you that listen to us ramble on here, if you got any questions or just want to say hi and tell us where you are from, please feel free to use the comment section on whatever social media platform you are on. We're streaming to about 8 or 9 different platforms right now. So we are taking over the world, gentlemen. Mr. Jamie, last name Bateman.
That's
What
right.
is going on with you
Um,
since last time we talked?
Looks like my camera's slow tonight. Well, let's see. We a couple of you know on here that we spent a good bit of time working on the HUD Heckham trade.
Oh, yeah.
So HUD has these trades every so often on reverse mortgages. In this case, these were where the borrowers are deceased and the properties are vacant. And so we put in a bunch of bids and got zero.
Swing and a miss.
Yeah.
Strike one.
Exactly.
It happens.
Same
But-
here.
It was a good
Yeah.
practice run. Yeah, Chris was involved as well, and but it was good. There'll be more of these, so it's not over. So otherwise, fund is trucking along, and we have our mentorship program, and nothing too crazy. We're awaiting a sale in early December on a. It's a contract for deed that she filed for bankruptcy in South Carolina, and she contract for deed property in South Carolina. She filed for Chapter 13 and kind of a serial filer, and we eventually got a motion for relief because it's being treated as a judicial foreclosure, and so we have a sale date in early December. So I'm optimistic on that one.
Okay.
See how it goes. A lot of moving parts in that one. But otherwise, yeah, nothing too exciting to be honest, which isn't a bad thing. Sometimes the stable paying notes are just fine.
Nothing
How
wrong
about you,
with that
Mr.
at all.
J?
First part of November, we closed on 6 notes, a small pool, and as of if everything goes to plan, we'll close out on have them all hypothecated out. We're
Very nice.
private capital by the 20th, so that is good.
Go
Nice.
Jay. Very good.
Yeah.
Go
So
Jay. Go
nice
Jay.
cash flow.
It's not your birthday, but that's okay.
That's all right.
Go Jay.
Yeah, Justin and I just got back from Note Expo. We were out there.
Not together.
Justin-
Not together.
No,
Separately.
not together. But Justin he spoke out there. I presented a case study and ended up being the bridesmaid again, but that's okay. Case
For
study
those of you that
Second
don't
place.
know, before we were recording, Jay was joking about how many times he gets second place at these case study competitions,
Yeah.
and he's getting tired of it.
Yeah.
one day I'll be the bride. There you
I
go.
Why do
Just-
you choose bridesmaid over groomsman? Just out of
Well,
curiosity.
That's a good
whatever. I
point.
don't know.
I'm
That's
just
a good.
that's a good
Okay.
throwing
point.
it out there,
All right.
I think it's
well,
just the saying that stuck in his mind, right, Jay?
yeah,
So-
exactly.
Trying to cover
Yeah.
for you, Jay.
I suggested
Thanks,
you
man.
should try a different case study next time.
Oh,
Jay, instead
okay.
of
Well,
trying the
that
same
might
one
help.
every year.
The definition of insanity is doing the same
Doing
thing
the
over and
same
over
thing
again,
over.
expecting a different result.
Just
So,
saying. Just saying.
Just saying. Okay. Well, to my defense, I have had 5 case studies out there. All right,
Wow.
that I've presented.
Nice.
One year I had one in each category, and it ended up with swing and a miss.
You try
So-
the
What are
shotgun
the,
effect.
before we get in, I'm just curious, what are the categories that they have?
Performing note, creative financing, and then non-performing note.
Got it.
I was in creative financing, so
Got it.
As you will see, as the
Yes.
whole world will see here in just a few minutes.
Nice.
whole universe.
Well, I did speak at Note Expo, and I had the Note School members have an appreciation day before Note Expo began. So I did a talk about the trade desk, which a lot of you know that I partner with Eddie Speed, and I run his trade desk for him. So that's where I spend a bulk amount of my time doing that, which is exciting. Let's see, our fund is doing pretty well. We got some hard money loans. We got some land notes. We got some house notes. I do have one in foreclosure that actually a sale date, Jamie, is around the same time that yours is in South Carolina. Mine's in North Carolina, coincidentally. So luckily, the person that I bought the note from a couple years ago was actually a real estate agent. So they're going to help me, do a BPO and stuff on it and be my boots and eyes on the ground. So
That's good.
that is fortunate. So we'll see what happens there. Hopefully, it's good news and the borrower just pays it off and you don't have to worry about it. So some interesting news from me personally. When I got back from Note Expo, I got back on a late Saturday night here in Indianapolis Airport, and I park in the economy lot. And what I typically do, because I'm a nerd, I'll take pictures of my vehicle like before I leave. Number one, so I know where the hell I parked. I'll forget pretty quickly. And I take a picture at the shelter house where the shuttle bus picks me up because I'll forget where I'm supposed to be dropped off to.
Too funny.
I mean, Jay, you know how big the Indianapolis
that's a big parking
lot
lot.
is. It's pretty large area. And I walk up to my vehicle. I notice it's not inside the white lanes anymore. And I was like, that's weird. I don't remember parking on cattywampus. And I get closer, and sure enough, some guy or gal end up hitting me and moved my vehicle over.
Oh my
Really?
gosh.
Yeah. So they hit me. I backed into the spot because I have a truck. And they hit the front passenger side of the truck, like right on the bumper.
I said it pretty hard.
Yeah, it hit it pretty hard to where it moved because my truck's a pretty heavy truck, right? And it moved over about 2.5, 3 feet, and it nudged up against the vehicle next to mine. So,
Wow.
luckily, it was
Cameras?
drivable. The airbags did not go off, which was kind of interesting why it didn't go off, but maybe it doesn't go off because I wasn't running the engine. And strangely enough, I did not know this, and you guys may know this, and those of you on the call, if you know this, let us know. But the airport have their own police.
Ah,
I didn't know that. So when I go to the
Airport
toll
police.
booth, because of course, there's nobody around. I'm like, okay, how do I file a police report or whatever? I'm thinking like, okay, this is stupid. So I take videos and pictures and whatnot so I can document for insurance. But I get to the gate to let me out to pay my stuff. I said, well, I need to file like a police report because somebody hit me in the parking lot. Like, oh yeah, we have our own police. I'm like, you do? So I had to pull over and wait for them to get there, and they took my information down and stuff.
Well, our airport's federally managed, so I'm curious if they are, then they'd have their own, might have their own little jurisdiction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but apparently the way
Okay,
that
I
the
know.
lady told me, all airports have their own police, which I guess kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
They probably should have some sort of.
I was gonna say, they probably have cameras where they could probably check another vehicle at that time or when you're
Oh.
there and see like
Oh,
who's got damage.
I was trying to lead them down that path, and they have a detective that's supposed to be contacting me, which I haven't been contacted yet, but it is what it is. And I said, I know exactly when I got here. I know exactly when I left. I go, here was my parking spot. And they're like, yeah, thank you, Mr. Bogard. But really, I don't think they're going to take the time to actually go through 80 hours worth of video to try to find, when this happened exactly and who it was to go after him. They said, we're just going to label this as a hit and run unless something's different. And so I talked to my insurance company. It's labeled as a hit and run. I already got it in the body shop like the next day, and got me a nice little rental, got me a little Nissan Pathfinder. So I'm just rocking and rolling. The insurance has got me covered for my daily rental fee. So
Okay.
never
There
a
you
dull
go.
moment with you, Justin.
never a dull moment. Hi, Christina.
Yeah, hi, Christina.
Just connecting with
Christina.
you too. Thanks for saying hi. Anyone else on the live stream right now, feel free to chime in. But that was what interesting happened to me. So sorry to take up so much airtime with that. I know you guys were dying to know.
I feel like we've talked about your truck on this broadcast before, actually.
I was thinking
Nice
that
try.
it got stolen or it got towed. Was what my thought was.
That's what I was waiting to
And
see.
then
if
when you
got
said it
towed. That's
moved,
what I
I'm like,
thought.
oh, did somebody hawk his tires from the airport? That would be,
that's-
stupid but
That's
awesome.
what happened
Um,
to you. Remember, Chris, when we were going to IMN,
Yeah.
you went to get that rental, the
Yeah,
truck, and the wheels were gone.
yeah, it was,
Wow.
Oh wow.
yeah. So
But anyway,
So,
I don't
Well,
think that's
that
why
was the
I didn't-
first time anything like that has happened to me, where I've been parked and someone
Yeah,
hit me.
that's
So
crazy.
it took me back. I'm just thinking like, what do I do? Like I
Right.
don't get into accidents. Like I've been in one accident before. It's just like, what do I do? So, anyways, fun times, right?
I'm gonna go dark for a second, try to fix my
That's
camera.
okay.
But
We're gonna go to a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. Oh, Jamie went dark again. All right. So Jay, Why don't you
Yes, sir.
tell us a little bit about your case study? This is well, I'll just let you talk. Why don't you talk?
Oh, okay. No,
You've done this
you've
enough
seen
times.
you've
to get
seen
second
you've
place.
seen
You're
it
pretty good
before.
at it.
You can no. Well, first of all, this is my son-in-law Kyle and I, and we're in business
Hi,
together.
Kyle.
Yeah. So, I'm kind of the face of the company, and I find the deals and find the money, and he runs all the operations on the backside. That's what he does. So that's kind of how we have our roles split up. So, you can go next slide.
Yes, sir. You'll have to guide me because I can't see the preview from.
Oh, okay. Next, go ahead. Go. All right. So this is the house. Okay. It's about 900 square foot. It's a 3-bed, 1-bath ranch. No garage. Has a little storage building back behind. Bought this in 2011 for $9,000.
So
So
did you buy the property at that point in time, or what did you buy for 9,000?
Yeah.
the property and the house. Okay. And everything that was inside of it.
This was
So-
a foreclosure that you bought.
No. Actually, it was from an owner that just wanted to get rid. Was in trouble and just wanted to get rid of it.
I could get a brand new motorcycle for $9,000.
I'm
Well, you gotta
laughing because
make-
in 2011, like, you know, I built my house and my stove cost more than
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like my
Exactly.
wife, I want this stove, okay, you
The
know.
damage to Justin's truck cost 10 grand, I think.
10 grand. There you go. You can
Thank
go
God I have a
next.
$500 deductible. That's all
There
I
you
gotta
go.
say.
Oh, okay.
God.
There you go. You can go next.
I'll let you know the damage next time we talk.
Yeah, so just under 1,000 square feet. This was a rental portfolio, part of our rental portfolio for 13 years. Next slide. Um,
$9 a square foot you bought the house for.
yeah,
Okay.
there you go. 2000.
And land.
Versus your DC condo that was what,
Right.
500 square
Yeah,
feet?
exactly.
That's cheap. I've sold some at 1,400. So
Go ahead for the next one. Next slide. Yeah, we used it as a rental for 13 years. It was one of those rentals that was a pain to manage. Not all rentals are, but this one, although it was profitable for us, all right, it was.
I hope so at 9 grand.
Well, yeah, but
Well,
We were running
consumed-
thin margins on this one.
thin margins on that, man. But it was a time consuming. It was a time suck. Okay.
what
to
was a
handle.
rent?
Rent initially
Let me guess.
was
let me guess, let
around
me guess.
575, 600 initially, and we were up to about 800
Okay.
here. So, I mean, that's about what we were for that. So,
Okay.
we had some good tenants over the long term, but we just had a lot of turnover. So it was a time suck factor. All right, and Kyle just didn't like it. To be honest, he just didn't like the property. So
He's
we
the one that
decided.
handles that part of it, right? The
Yes, he
document.
is now. He is the one that handles it, and he says, "Can we please get rid of this thing?" I said, "Okay, let's see if we can sell or finance it." So go ahead next.
Okay.
All right. So terms on the purchase, you can go ahead next. Purchase price was $9 grand. Cash down. Obviously, I didn't finance that. Okay. And all in was $9 grand. All right.
I can do this math in my head.
Yeah, there you go. Next slide.
Chris looks confused.
Confused.
It's like you bought it for 9,000.
I bought a
Stuff
house
on
in
that.
Flint for $500. So
I'm gonna say you probably can't even get a garage out there for that. So
no, we were selling parking spaces for 50 when
Yeah.
2011. So
yeah. So basically, what we did, the area around here has been growing more of the Latino community.
Okay.
And we actually reached out to another investor friend of ours that's part of our local mastermind that we operate with that asked him, Christine asked, no closing costs, minimal at $9 grand. Okay. So we're going round numbers. We're not getting down to the exact little detail here.
Sorry,
this
Jamie
is a round
disappeared.
number. Yeah. So I love you, Christina. But so we reached out to the other investor who had been selling to the Latino community and asked him if he had a direct connection of there, and he did. So our target was not, the PBB stands for penalty box buyer, which is someone that doesn't necessarily qualify for a bank loan, but they're still financeable. They have a good down. Our target actually was another investor on this. Okay, so
Okay.
some of this information that that was put together isn't quite right. But once the tenant moved out, we did upgrade everything. We put about 20,000 into it. We put vinyl plank floor, some new kitchen cabinets, paint. We redid the bathroom, but it's still a straightforward 3-in-1. We put some new doors on the inside, so about 20 grand in fix up.
You're
And
29,000 into it already.
Yeah,
caught up on that.
there you go. Well, we had made probably 20 grand net over the years on that anyway, on just
Okay, so
spread.
how long did it rent before you rehabbed it?
About 13 years.
It
Okay,
rented
we did some
13 years
minor stuff.
before you
did some-
rehabbed it.
Yeah, we did some minor stuff along the way just to take care of it. Okay, but nothing of what we did here. Okay.
And you were getting $600 a month.
No, we were up to 775, 800 is what we were up to over the years.
So how long?
In
how many months
2011, it was about 575 is what it was.
how many months did it take you, or how many years did it take you to get the 9,000 back?
Oh, that I don't know. That was dependent to a certain degree upon whenever the turnover took place.
Roughly, probably 2 years, be my guess.
I don't know. So,
Quickly.
but no, instead of the marketing on the Facebook, the person who put the slides together didn't do this right. But anyhow, we reached out to this other contact, and he's a realtor and has a big Latino following. We talked with him, say, hey, this is kind of what we're looking at. He took a walk through and he says, I'll put out my network. We'll see what happens. And I said, okay. So about a week later, he sends me and says, will 140,000 do with 30,000 down at 8%? Will that work? Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, I think so.
Did you think it was worth 140,000?
No.
What did you think it was?
No, our comps was at best 100,000.
Wow. Okay.
So, but the buyer was he's a Latino. It's a Latino family. They own their own business. He runs a roofing company, and they put 30 grand down. It's a typical penalty box buyer. All right, the individual who is a business owner or a contractor. Difficult to get bank loans because of that. And we didn't do extensive underwriting, but we did good enough underwriting on it. So but we did, we got 30,000 as a down payment. We escrow taxes, insurance, and the borrower also paid for the servicing fees. And we did it at 8%. Typically, we would do this between 10 and 12% when we sell our finance, but I wasn't going to get greedy because we got 140,000 on it versus what we kind of had targeted at 100.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Quick question, Jay. Do you, when you do these, one, are you looking, I know you said the underwriting was not super thorough, but do you have like minimum requirements for underwriting? And then I'm curious on the terms that you normally use as well.
Sure. It depends on who our buyer is. Okay,
Gotcha.
If it's an owner occupant, we're taking them through a full underwriting process with an RMLO. This was an investor loan, and they actually signed a document stating that this was for investment purposes.
Gotcha.
All right, so it's not owner to cover our rear. All right,
Sure.
So this was an investor loan, and on an investor loan, we do ask for a lot more down than we do for a owner occupied. Owner occupied, we're basically looking between 15 and 20%. Whenever
Gotcha.
we do this on the owner occupied side, we're typically around 17% is our average as far as down payments are concerned. So.
Okay.
So what we did on this one, since he kind of brought the terms to me and we were okay with it, I just backed into it as far as what the term, and it ended up being 200 payments is what it ended up being. Okay.
Got it.
Now, otherwise, what we would do, we would look at, if it was owner occupied, we would look at what their income is, get their DTI, and basically we basically look at 45%. We do not want to go over a DTI of greater than 45% on an owner occupied.
That's debt to income for
Did you get
those.
assignment or
debt
rents
to
on
income.
this one?
I'm sorry, what, Justin?
Did you get assignment of rents addendum on your mortgage?
On this one?
Yeah.
It's in the documents, yes.
Okay.
Had to think a second. I'm trying to think whether that was part of the actual loan or whether it was a separate I think it was actually in the mortgage. I think it was all.
Yeah, it's usually an addendum, like at the back of the mortgage.
I've
So,
always had a hard time collecting on that when they're in default.
well, this guy's not going to default. So I'll tell you the rest of the story in a little bit. He's not defaulting. If he does, he's an idiot, and he won't. I'll tell you why in a moment. Anyhow, so the payment that's showing here is actually PITI. All right, the actual P&I payment is $997. All right. To answer Christine's question, usually an addendum. I think this was written right in, if I remember right. So it's a great question.
Yeah, it's usually attached to the mortgage.
Yeah, it's usually either attached to a mortgage or sometimes it's within the mortgage itself.
This one was written right in the mortgage, I'm pretty sure, but it's typically an addendum. So, all right, so we got $30,000 down payment, loan for $110,000, 8% interest. The P&I payment for 200 months is essentially $997. That $1,154 includes taxes and insurance. Pay a year's worth of payments on taxes. For insurance. So paid up insurance for a year. And yeah, so all right, go on to the next.
Did this guy end up just renting it to somebody, or did he sell it on owner financing?
I don't know. I don't know whether they're renting it or whether, oftentimes in the Latino family that we have discovered just from experiences, a lot of times they'll own their own property and then they'll start buying properties for family members. Mm-hmm. So I don't know on this. We just know that they're not living there. So
now, what's the rental rate right now in that area?
It's $900 at most.
Okay, so they're probably family, because why would they pay $1,200 a month for a home that's only getting $900 in rent?
Right.
So it's probably, yeah, we see that a lot too, is people will do it for family members.
Yep. So, all right, next slide. All right, so that's what it looks like. All right, obviously. You go next slide. 200 payments. All right, next. Yeah, so here's just our expenses, the down payment. We recouped pretty much all of our expenses. All right, well, we did all the rehab costs right out of the down payment. So, and then that monthly payments is $997 for P&I, but altogether it's pretty close to that's what it is. He did get that point right. So, but here's the kicker. All right, you go on to the next slide. Total profit, yeah, 231. There you go. So if this would go to term for 200 months, for a $9,000 investment, so we'll say $29,000 investment, get back 231. All right, I'll take
good.
That. Yeah, I'll take that.
It's probably actually higher than that if you wanted to take the time to get all the rents in there. So this is just a conservative number.
Yeah. But here's what's going on. You can go on to the next page, next slide here. That's it. Okay.
That's it.
All right. So here's the rest of the story, which I did not share. The guy paid 1 month normal payment, and the next month he paid $35,000 down.
What?
The next month after that, he paid an additional $9,000. That was November's payment. So he's already got half of it paid back. Now I hope he doesn't pay an extra. Honestly, I hope he doesn't pay extra here, because I don't want to pay on all of the capital gains this year.
Yeah.
No, slow down. Can you wait till January?
Yeah, wait till January, then you can pay the rest of it off. So, we're not going to make it to 231, but it's okay.
Wait,
we're still going to do just
Did you
fine.
recast the loan when he did that, or no?
No, I did not. It just paid down. It did not recast, just paid down.
Okay.
So,
interesting. Now, don't you think if you'd shared that, you would have got first place at the competition?
No, because actually the one who did win was actually a really good one.
Gotcha.
I have to admit. It was a good one. This is good. This is just a simple deal.
Good.
This is just a simple deal, straightforward. So, we're not going to go 200 months by any means. I'm anticipating that within 2 years, or maybe not even that, maybe only in a year, he'll have it totally paid off. But going into winter, since he's a roofer, we're getting cold, I imagine for the winter months he'll probably just pay normal payments, and it will pick up again in the spring. Would be my guess. So.
Will you sell me a partial of this one? I got a small balance account. that I wanna blow
No
up.
partials available on this one.
So 2 things I'll
Okay.
mention on
Just
this.
3 years. Get somebody a 3-year partial.
2 things I'll say is this is a freaking awesome deal. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, and also say for everybody out there watching us, this is not common.
No,
So,
this is not common.
you know,
It's commons for Jay's
So,
portfolio.
there's probably some guru out there who's watching this and taking all the notes and going to do this on a webinar or a seminar next week and say, this is what you can do in note investing. Yes, you can. But these are typically rare, but they do happen when, again, when you have been in the business for, many years, you have ones like this. And these are the ones that you can sit back and like, this is nice. So yeah, this is awesome. In every facet of,
you always look about, when you're talking about notes, from the standpoint, okay, where you have your depreciation recapture, you always want to take, versus a rental. How much depreciation did I get on a $9,000 investment?
True.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Accelerate that down to like a year.
Yeah,
Well,
7.5 years. How much depreciation do I get on that one? So that's
Jay,
another
can you
reason.
explain that, for what that is for what is depreciation recapture? I think for
for all those people out here are gung-ho on rentals, and we have rentals. We have 40 of our own. Okay. But here's something, a lot of people, they always talk, well, you get depreciation on it. Well, that's great that you do, but if you ever sell the property, you got to pay all that back in the depreciation recapture tax at 25%. Okay. Plus, you've got your capital gains that you have to pay. So the only area in which it really makes a benefit to you is in 2 areas. Number one, you have to do a 1031 exchange and kick that can down the road, or you die. So it's
Right.
that's the only way you get around of not having to pay the depreciation recapture tax.
And here's the other thing too that I look at with this in some sense is, and again, I know the corporate tax rate did go down over recently and some of the, I'll say, taxes, but more than likely taxes and tax rates are probably going to go up in the future compared to going down based on where we're at with, a few $36 trillion of debt. So sometimes it's like, hey, look, do I just pay the taxes now? And like with notes, hey, I pay it this year. I have the cash. I don't have to worry about it, or, kick the can down the road and figure out what it's going to be at then. And there's no right or wrong answer. It's really your preference.
Yeah, it really is. But you're not going to sidestep it. And if you are going to do a 1031, all right, you're only sidestepping it for the time being. Can you continue to keep doing a 1031 down the road? All right, possibly. But if you ever, sometimes that time frame is pretty tight. If you don't have something lined up between that closing, what is it, 45 days? I think is what it is. And you mess up, you got a huge tax bill that's coming due, because all of that you have done the 1031 exchange with multiple times over, all of a sudden catches up to you, and that can bite big time.
A couple counter arguments. Because controversy sells, right, Justin? No, but okay, but if you save that money up front, say in the first 5 or 10 years, I mean, how many more $9,000 deals did you need you could put that money back to work so quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are advantages to money now versus, much later. But also, and this isn't what you were arguing, but much of the success in this is due to appreciation of the property.
Exactly.
Patience.
You just waited, and you bought it right, but you also waited, and you don't get that in notes.
No.
So I'm a fan of rentals as well. So I know I just cursed on your show, Justin.
We just lost Jamie, guys.
He's all on.
Right. He's never invited back.
I think there's a balance between rentals and and notes. Okay, I think on both sides of the coins.
Sure.
But I can honestly say, from our standpoint, we have very little debt on our rentals. So ours
Yeah.
cash flow. Buying a rental right now and trying to make it cash flow is
Yeah. It's
tough.
really tough. Oh, for
Really
sure.
tough right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, we bought this. We bought it dirt cheap. We bought it right. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what made it as a rental. Okay, made it good.
Right.
So,
Agreed.
yeah, the one thing that I think that rentals do, and I saw this during COVID on the rental side, we were able to adjust rents quickly, okay,
Mm.
based upon what was going on. So we could mirror what was happening on the appreciation side, or I should say on the inflationary side. Okay,
Mhm.
notes are slower in that respect. Okay, so you're going to have to get out of the note, sell a partial, something like that, to be able to recapitalize so you can get the higher interest rate.
Mhm.
It's just a different strategy. That's all.
Yeah.
And some do pay off early. Okay, like this.
True.
So I
Right.
think Christina had a question here. I'm looking at it. Do you ever place the prepayment penalty in the note on ones of this value to prevent payoff within the first 2 or 3
Yeah,
years,
I
or
was
some
wondering
other
that too.
strategy? Yeah, you can on an investor loan. That is potentially one mistake that I made here. Okay, on an owner occupied loan, we don't do that. We don't do that at all, and we don't do balloons. Okay, on owner occupied, and the reason being, it just muddies the water. We allow them to pay off when it's owner occupied, and this is my own personal thought. When they pay off, we get our money, we go deploy it again, and make it go. Okay, I'm not as worried about it being paid off early. All right, we just get our capital back, and we can redeploy it, make the profit, and away we go.
I
Jay,
have
you did a really
those
good job on this, man.
Yeah.
So those
Thanks.
DC loans, yeah, that's a great job. You mentioned like prepayment penalties and stuff. Those DC loans were non-owner occupied. In the document, and asked my attorney, I'm like, is this even legal? He's like, yes, but it's gluttonous. Is in a default, the default interest automatically gets added to the UPB and accrues interest. So the interest accrues interest. And I'm like,
Yep.
That's interesting.
wow. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, I'm like, is that? And I asked him, like, yeah, legal? He's like, yeah, it is on an investment loan, but he's like, that's pretty you know,
aggressive.
Exactly.
Mm.
Now we do have default interest rates on both. We had a default interest rate on this one, as well as on our owner occupied ones. We have default interest rates on them.
Oh,
But
we
they're not.
on
But they're
investor
not
loans,
outrageous.
we put 18 to 22 for default interest on investor loans.
Investor loans, yeah.
Yeah,
I
mean,
think I put 14 on this, if I remember right.
Yeah. It's more of a pain thing. It's like, hey, look, if you're going to default on something, better be careful, because if it's 8, 9, 10% loan, okay, but if it kicks up to, 18 or something, people will want to pay
Especially if
you
they have
before
equity.
others. Yes.
If
They have
it
equity,
is
they
an
don't- you don't
owner,
wanna lose it.
yeah, if
It's
it's an
non-owner.
owner occupied, non-owner occupied,
Non-owner. Yeah.
Yeah.
On owner occupied, oh God, no, I'll be in prison behind bars if I was charging 18%
owner
default
occupied, we
interest.
typically do 2 more points as well. So if the interest rate's at 10, it'll bump up to 12.
So I got and again, part of this is seller financing. I'm familiar with it, but it's not really my wheelhouse. Curious from any one of the three of you, kind of what, for people out there, what are the steps you go through to, say you're a note investor and you're about to take back a property in a few weeks via foreclosure auction.
Mhm.
Should I be contacting a local real estate agent? Should I be assuming I should put this on the MLS and then write up seller financing in the listing? How do I find the best buyer? What's my approach?
Well, first of all, you got to take an assessment of how much you have into the property.
Well, actually,
Okay.
first of all, you got to find out if they're going to stay or not. So you have to
If
evict
there's
them.
someone there.
You have to get around that first.
Yeah.
Right. So let's say, but I have one, and this is real. I have one that, the numbers we go into with what's our all in, which is what you just said, Jay, kind of in other words, what did I buy it for minus what I've received in any borrower payments, plus any expenses over the course of the ownership of the note. So that's our all in. And then also what's the payoff? And then what do we think the property is worth? Kind of the three numbers that we look
Right.
at. But
Yep.
but as far as just the mechanics of it, which
From the-
what should be my next steps?
Well, from the mechanics, you got to decide, okay, what's the total fixed up ARV and how much work do I have? How much money do I have to put into it to get a spread on the back end? That's one strategy. The other strategy is to sell it in as is condition, all right?
Mhm.
If it's livable right now, and this is where you need to do get a BPO or get an
Mhm.
appraisal to get a feeling from a realtor that's in that area that has experience. I'm really qualifying the realtor here, and you all
Mhm.
know why. That deals with REOs, all right, on a
Mhm.
routine basis, that knows
Yeah.
what the value truly is. That's
Sure.
the first avenue. The second, then, so you know which direction you're going to go.
Okay, so
Okay.
how do you find a realtor? You go to Zillow and look for the what do you
No.
what do you do?
Start calling your friends in the area.
Yeah,
Okay.
Get some
call
referrals and word
people
of
in the
mouth.
area. I would call some I would call some realtor houses and find out who deals with the REOs in your organization.
Yeah.
What
Got it.
areas line is this?
I'm sorry, what,
So
Justin?
oh sorry.
Jamie,
What'd you
where's this out in South Carolina?
Oh, mine's in actually I forget the city. But I'm
Close-
also
closer-
trying to somewhat play dumb for,
So-
anyone.
I know you are. That's fine.
Here's
But,
another thing
Yeah, go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
that I look at too is it a rental community or is it owner occupied? Because
Yeah,
if it's a
right.
rental, then what I may look at also doing is getting creative financing where, okay, an investor is going to buy this. How can I make it enticing for an investor? What does an investor look for? They want the lowest payment that they can get to cover the rent. So I might go to them and say, hey, look, I'll give you an interest only loan at 10 or 12%. That is lower than what it might be a 30-year loan at 7 or 8%. And they'll basically like, hey, look, I'll buy this interest only. I'll buy the property from you interest only at 10% because I can still cash flow $200 a month or whatever it is.
Mhm.
And then that standpoint, there's a lot of people right now looking for, as Jay mentioned earlier, looking for opportunities for investment properties where, hey, I can get a little bit of cash flow. And then when you do it with that loan, maybe you pop a 5-year balloon on it.
Yeah.
So it's, hey, you're not interest only forever, but it gives them 5 years to figure out what they need to do.
Mhm.
Yeah, and 5 and 7, between 5, I would say 5 to 7 years, depending on what the market is, but it gives them time to refinance out, to burr it, whatever they want to do. In the meantime, you're getting the interest.
How much
off of that.
equity would you have them put in the deal in the beginning to do interest only like that?
First, I look at the state, judicial state, I'd want a lot more. Typically, I'd want 2x to 3x my foreclosure cost. Non-judicial could probably work a little less, but I'd probably, and again, we're talking, let's say $125,000 home. I would, in a judicial state, probably want 15, 20 grand. Non-judicial, 10%.
I'm
They
a
wouldn't
little
get
more
any-
greedier. I want 30% down from an
They wouldn't
investment.
get any equity then. They just bank on appreciation for that rental to be able to get a bank loan, right?
Mhm.
Because a bank loan's probably not going to lend unless it's probably 70 or 65%.
Yeah,
loan
they'd want to
value.
be about 70%. So that's where, again, you're banking on it over 5 years.
Yeah.
But if, you can get 10,000 down and get somebody in there and they're paying you for 2-3 years and then they lose a tenant or something and then you have to take it back. Well, at least you got, let's see, you're getting 10,000 a year. So you might have got 20 or 30 grand back
Yeah.
on it. So you still should probably you probably wouldn't be worse off than you were 2
Yeah,
years prior.
That's a good point. Because if you're not planning on selling the paper, then that's a good strategy.
I mean, if I wrote it at 10 to 12, I'd sell the paper and, at, 80, 90 cents on the dollar. And I'd evaluate what do I have to sell it for,
Yeah.
again, with an agent and what it's worth versus what I can get, with the note and sell the note.
So Jay, but one of the biggest things, sounds like you're saying find a realtor who's very familiar with REO in that area. That's like the
Yeah.
number one thing to do.
Your realtor is going to make or break you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got it.
and that's where your network comes into play.
Mhm.
All right, that's
Yeah.
why, particularly in the note investing world, we all tend to have networks of people. I could call, call Jamie or call Chris or Justin and say, hey, you got anybody that's experienced in South Carolina or anything like
Yeah.
that? And I know Justin and I both have some. I know we were probably both thinking of the same person. All right offhand, that has done a lot of REOs in South Carolina. So
Yeah.
Oh.
Here's what I wouldn't do. Put it on Facebook.
no.
And you put it in investor forums or Facebook, you're going to just get all the bottom feeders, people who have
Yeah.
zero money. We're going to try and wholesale it or do something else and just waste all your time.
Now, if you're going to fix it up and try to sell it that way to a penalty box buyer, someone that doesn't qualify for a bank loan, then we've had very good success with putting it on Facebook Marketplace. All right. And but how we phrase it is that we'll say it for sale and we'll say private financing available to qualified buyer with large down. Well, the first questions you get are, well, what's a large down? Well, at least 15% or 20%.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Mine's in
and
Newberry,
that screens them out right away.
Sorry to jump over you.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Newberry, South Carolina, Justin, to answer
Where's
your
the
question.
closest major city to that?
Okay.
I don't know where Newberry is. Sorry.
I have never heard
Are you
of
on
Newberry.
coast or the non-coast? Middle?
Let's
Columbia, Greenville.
I'll get back to you.
In between Greenville and Columbia.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
So right down
So,
the 385 corridor or 26.
I have a realtor that can help you.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Okay, cool.
Not the one Jay's thinking of. Somebody else.
Another
Okay.
one. Okay.
Awesome.
But even if you've got a contact in that state, they know other realtors who deal in REOs. You can leverage their base. So that's the other thing.
There you go, Jamie.
That's such a key point in this space. Is like you don't have to have all the answers. You just have to know where to find someone who does.
Henry
Connect
Ford.
the dots.
Yeah.
Henry Ford. Okay, we can continue this conversation, but we will just kind of get to the remainder part of the slides here. So as you know, we all buy notes here. So if you got any first lien notes, any sort of contracts, note mortgages, deed of trust options, send them our way. You can scan that little QR code with your phone, or just look me up on American or ANBfunds.com, and you can enter in your information. We are actually not going to have a December broadcast this year. So this is the last broadcast of 2024. We're going to take a break, and we will catch you guys back in 2025 on January 8th. This is the second Wednesday in January from 6 to 7
Chris, is that
p.m.
a tier? Is that a tier I see, Chris?
It is.
Tear of joy.
No, I mean,
one more commitment I don't have to do.
Damn, it's 2025 already. But when did we start this?
In the January of last year, I think.
Last year, we're coming up on the 1 year mark.
Come up on the 1 year? Are we going to
Nice.
have like a big get together or party or something?
Yeah, that's why we're shutting down. Yeah, in December.
Yeah, we're gonna have a party in December. There you go.
Your invitation's in the mail.
Yeah.
I'll check my spam folder.
So, okay,
Awesome.
where's my little mouse clicker thingy there? All right.
I'd love to hear about Note Expo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we didn't actually talk about it.
Yeah. You know what? I got something I thought was really cool out of
What's that?
Note Expo. Obviously, you have the connections. You meet a lot of different people and everything, and that's always good. But they had a new vendor there that I thought was really kind of good, and that is Easy Title and Escrow.
Mm-hmm.
And where
I think I know what I heard
yeah,
of that.
and where this really, I think, really plays out well. We all know each other here. If we're going to do a business, if we're going to do a trade or something like that, we're not going through a title company. We're going to deal directly with each other. Of course, we know each other, we trust each other, that type of thing. But if you're dealing with somebody that's brand new, okay, or someone that you've never done business with, this is a great way to protect you until you start to get, until you really start doing some leverage business on knowing that people are going to perform as they say they're going to perform. Because the worst thing you could do is send a wire if you think you're buying the note, and all of a sudden everything goes not dark. Not happened to me yet, and I don't plan on it happening to me. So, but if you're dealing with someone new that you don't have a long-term relationship with or anything like that, this would be a great way to be able to use as a escrow, all right, and let them pull everything together. and it's a very, very, very streamlined. They are knowledgeable in notes.
I
Are
know
they? Is it
2 people
nationwide?
who have gotten burned by similar, where they wired money for a trade that the trade never got consummated and their money is gone. And one of them, I think it took them like 4 years to get their money back. And the other is still pending a lawsuit. And we're
Wow.
not talking like 50 or 100 grand. We're talking 7-figure trades.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
yeah.
Yeah, something that large, I would be using a escrow period.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
Interesting. Yeah. So founded in 2023, Easy Title and Escrow looks like.
Yep.
Looks like they're nationwide. That's cool.
they are.
Yeah,
they are
they
nationwide.
close everywhere. They're pretty good virtual.
Nice.
They actually do a lot of house buyers. They close a couple hundred every month for house buyers virtually.
Nice.
And so
So-
now they're learning how to do the note trades as well, and now they're getting pretty good at it. So they use
Cool.
a
Good stuff.
system. Their background system they use, Chris. I don't know if you're familiar with Airtable.
Yep.
They use Airtable. So then Colonial's been using an Airtable as well, and it just really helps move things along to the next operation.
Yeah, what's nice with Airtable is you can create different views, and if you modify it in one view, it modifies all the
Everything.
tables everywhere and stuff like that. Yeah, Microsoft is, we use all Microsoft-based products now. Have come up with kind of something called like Loop, which is interesting because it loops in all different things. Where like if you put a meeting agenda within your Outlook calendar, and you update the agenda, it can update it in the Word document or the Excel file or in this Loop or in OneNote. It just cross-pollinates everything, which I think is great because I know like in Excel, like, oh, I'll update this column on my bid sheet, but it doesn't update everywhere else or whatnot. So that's what's
So,
cool with it.
Justin, this relates to what Chris is saying. Since we're not having a December broadcast, I'll just plug very briefly. Chris is going to be on our mentorship webinar on December 4th, and we're going to talk about AI hacks for mortgage note investors. So, technology hacks for asset management and deal working through the whole anything that can help you in the business of mortgage notes. So, if anyone's interested, reach out. December 4th at 6 p.m. Eastern. Chris Sevigny will be featured on our mentorship webinar.
It's funny that you mentioned that because one of the keynote speakers at Note Expo, his name is Cade Thompson, and he's
Okay.
like the head running guy of Rock Top Technologies, which is one of the biggest note buying trade desk platform things out there.
Mhm.
And so he was making it. He was making a statement during his keynote that the mortgage industry in general is so far behind
Mm.
in automation and AI that it's almost laughable.
Mhm.
So his company actually is paving the way of using blockchain going forward to make that kind of a standardization in the next few years for all these trades. So
Cool.
by the time the paper is originated, it's going to have a trail of transaction activity throughout its whole process of getting traded, ample of times into a security and all that sort of thing. So he's already, paving that way going forward.
Nice.
Yeah, Alex Godofsky Pro Title, I think, is working on something as well.
They might be
within-
working together on it.
Yeah, who knows? Some of the things I'll kind of do little plugs of stuff like what we're doing or sharing that I haven't told Jamie this yet. So
Yeah,
things
'cause you were
like
supposed to
creating,
send me the-
like
I'm just
creating
kidding.
custom GPTs where, hey, people have files and systems everywhere. How long does it take to foreclose in Alabama, or what's the process? Instead of trying to file my file system of where it is or what it is, ask a GPT a question, spit out the steps, the processes, and say, by the way, you use Rubin Lubin as your attorney. Here's their contact information. And stuff like that. And right now we're still slowly working on it, where it's also in Microsoft, where we do this with their Copilot, where we can then automate it to actually notify the attorney to send a demand letter on a specific loan. If we're in it, it's like, hey, we want to send a demand letter on 123 Main Street. What do we need to send the attorney? Basically, it'll tell us, and then basically can click on, create some automation to send stuff like that. That's just one simple example of people want to use it for marketing, which it's easy to do for marketing technologies and so forth. But we want to use it more for ease and finding information that you don't have to memorize it, but you remember, like, oh, who is that again, or what is that again? Yeah. Or certain things regarding bankruptcy, because the laws are always crazy or changing or stuff like that. So
quick access to information for operational purposes.
Correct.
Like.
Yeah, because Jamie, I'm a data buff where I've got lots of data. It's a matter of taking it from out of here and putting it somewhere so others around me as part of my team can also pull that information and that knowledge.
So you're like
they
me.
Can't just open up the head and suck it out or anything.
Yeah, I mean, Silence of the Lambs, they were pretty good at it, but
You're an island of information, Chris. That's what Eddie tells me. He's like, you're an island of information. You need to get that written down somewhere.
And it's an organizational tool. It's how to use it for organizational stuff as well. There's lots of different ways you can streamline and organize things. So I think that's going to be very beneficial for people to be able to consume more data or easily have things at their fingertips.
Awesome. Well, we are about at the top of the hour, so since this is the last broadcast for the 2024, let's just talk about something that's not note related for a second. And I kind of want to hear from each of you, like, what is your vacation spot you're trying to get to in 2025, or if you haven't discussed it yet with your significant other, or perhaps it's on your wish list. So I'm gonna start with you, Chris, since you're on the top of my screen.
I thought you were going to go into politics and say, what's your opinion on the poll? I'm like, oh, this is getting really enticing and interesting.
I don't want people to start chucking virtual tomatoes at me like James.
That's a really good question, because we have not planned our vacation yet for next year. And my son wants to go to Europe. We typically head to a Caribbean island. But we haven't chose anything yet. We potentially might hit up the end of January, early February, Utah or Colorado. There's a group I'm in that's having a conference out in at a ski resort out there that we may end up going to. But we haven't figured out yet where our vacation will be for next year.
Justin, you caught Chris. He's at a loss for words. This is a rare moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rare moment.
I mean,
only I can do this, Jamie. I got the power.
Yes, that's impressive.
I mean, in the past, I'll add one thing though. In the past, we used to travel abroad during Thanksgiving. So if you're not a big Thanksgiving type of person and so forth, if you fly abroad during the week of Thanksgiving, you will never find flights more affordable or Caribbean resorts.
That's funny you mentioned that, because I was actually looking at that about a month or two ago with the girls to see, because they want to go to Europe as well. And I was trying to see, like, all right, what would it cost us to do that during the holiday there?
I've been to Europe. I've been to the Virgin Islands. I've been to Mexico. I've been to the Bahamas. I've been to the Dominican. So I've traveled at least a half dozen times the week of Thanksgiving, and loved it. Because wherever you go also isn't really packed. So
true.
Sure. Good point.
Jay.
I guess I'll go next. Okay, we've got 2 trips planned right now. One, we're in February. We're planning to fly down to Key West and come up through Marathon and then come up through Fort Myers. All right, we're going to spend 10 days probably just chilling out in that respect. And then I have not been to Mount Rushmore, so we're going to do that later on in the summer, up to the Badlands and go see that. And I'm going to squeal on Kyle. He has a trip going to Paris. He's going to Paris. All right.
Wow.
So they're spending 9 days out there, and he just booked his flights all with points. He did it for $400 for taxes and everything. That's it. And everything else was taken care of by points. So
That's awesome.
nice.
That's awesome from his standpoint.
Heck yeah.
Nice.
Very cool.
I don't have I'm like Chris. I don't have anything big for next year, but I do have a couple. I have a couple of smaller trips on the horizon. I'm gonna go visit my sister and her family in Arkansas. They're there because they're a military family, so they're at Fort Smith, and they're not able to come, visit for the holidays. So I'm just gonna make a quick trip there to visit them, and then, yeah, I've spoken with a couple of friends about doing the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, which I've done before, which was fun. It's not for those who don't know, there's not really an actual trail, but you can kind of make it
Sort of
what
like
you want.
drinking
Bourbon
involved.
comes out of the
Well,
ground.
you know what? I was actually disappointed. We really didn't. We tasted plenty of bourbon, but we really didn't drink that much. And I don't mean like I was disappointed, like I wanted to just get drunk the whole time. But it,
Get blind
it's not
drunk,
really
I mean,
about
I mean.
drinking. It doesn't have to be about getting, just drinking. It's like I was fascinated by the just the what you learn about the distilleries and how some of it's marketing. They each distillery wants to claim it's very different than all the rest. Like you can't get this water anywhere else because of the particular limestone or whatever it is. And I don't know if I buy all that, but it was pretty neat to see the different processes that are at play there. So there were a lot of distilleries we didn't get to visit when we did this 5 years ago. So I'm looking forward to doing that again.
That's awesome. I was just trying to get ideas for where I need to go in 2025. So
Well, you can join me.
I turn 50 next year, so where you guys, treat
Oh, wow.
me. You gotta treat me somewhere. So
Wow,
I got a
you
big
need
one
to go.
next year.
no, here's what we'll do.
Yeah.
We'll go to where you're at.
such a
and
young'un.
we'll come hang out with you.
So
Jay's like
That's
50.
easy
probably
for
you,
Jamie.
Chris.
Jay doesn't even remember 50. That's how.
I didn't even
Oh,
start
30
investing.
years ago.
Hey, I didn't even start investing in real estate or anything until 45. So there's
Wow.
hope for all of you yet.
You and Colonel Sanders.
Nice.
I mean, I didn't start until 20, 25, 38. My own personal
Yeah.
portfolio. I mean, I had like single family home, like my own personal residence and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But
That's
I
about
didn't
when I
really start
started, too.
investment property until I was 38.
That's about when I started too. No, I think the girls and I, we're gonna go fly somewhere, probably domestic. We won't go international, I don't think, in 25, but we're definitely gonna drive somewhere as well, probably over the summer. They like to go different places. They're beach people. They like to be at the beach, and they haven't been to one in quite some time. So perhaps we'll get to the East Coast somewhere and hang out there for like a week or so.
You got an
Cool.
RV
Well-
too, right?
I do, but I rent it out all the time,
Gotcha.
and it's just honestly, yeah, it was fun while it lasted, but it's not that
Mm.
much fun anymore. Pulling that thing around, setting up and tearing down, and then
Gotcha.
everyone's sitting around watching me.
Right.
It's like, well, I get it. You don't know what to do, but at the same time, it's like,
Right. Make yourself useful.
yeah. 35 minutes later, I'll see you guys later.
Hey, if you get a chance to get down to Marathon, you need to take the time to go and swim with the dolphins. It's an awesome experience
Mm.
down there.
Keys are awesome.
Keys
If
are awesome.
If
as
you
well.
come up through Miami, I can have you check out one of my properties, Jay. So that we get a
well, we're
construction
flying
loan
into
on.
Key West as it's planned. On our way back up, though, I could.
Yeah. So
That could be a possibility. So
Be a
not
door
going
knocker.
down there. Not going to be until in February, though.
well, there'll still be. It's a renovation loan that they're working on. So
Okay.
it's a $16 million loan.
Oh well, okay.
So maybe you can stay a few nights.
Yeah,
Now he's
maybe.
You know, Chris, I might be up.
You put me up a couple nights, I'll do all the inspections you want me to do.
I showed you guys this Georgia house. I mean, who
Yes.
would not want to stay in that property?
Exactly.
I mean,
Jay and I can
Right.
stay in different wings and just make sure everything is
go.
good.
yeah, so
All right, gentlemen.
All right.
Thanks for being on the show this year. Appreciate you. All the
This was
stuff that you
fun.
bring with the case studies. We're going to continue to do this format going forward in 2025. And for all of you watching and on the different social media channels from everyone that's on the show today, thank you very much for watching this. We appreciate it. Feel free to make comments if you want, even if you watch the replay. We do look at those, and it's okay to poke fun of us. We really don't mind. So
Yeah, it's okay. So
Yeah.
wish you
Until
all
next year,
a
everyone.
happy holidays. Yes.
Happy holiday.
time.
New Year. See you in 2025. Woohoo!
Yep.
Take care.
take care, everyone.
Woo-hoo.